Hey, what's up guys? BrandoMcWilli doing another video, this time more of a reloading video. Gotta confess that I strayed away from my Hornady stuff not too long ago and I bought some RCBS carbide dies for 45 ACP. Well, I start loading the 45 ACP with the RCBS dies, and it does okay with the sizing, and it does okay, and I say okay, with the expansion. And maybe I'm just biased because I'm using Hornady. I've used nothing but Hornady stuff in the past. But when it comes to using the bullet seeder, I did not like it at all. As a matter of fact, you can see right here that I only did 3 bullets with those dies, and I just basically said, well, this is horrible, let me go and exchange them and get rid of them. Basically what had happened was those particular dies is a crimping die, okay, for the bullet seeder for the RCBS, and it doesn't have like a little sleeve to hold the bullet in as you kind of move it up the ram. And if you set it to do the crimping, I ended up with bullets like this. And this is actually a live round. Quite frankly, I have not pulled this, but I wanted to show it. There's the bullet. The casing is all foobarred, and it just was horrible. So I ended up getting like 3 like this, and then you know, for some test runs before I even started putting powder in, and it just really just ticked me off. And I said, it's enough's enough. I've dumped all these powdered. I dumped all those and these powdered, and decided to dump all the powder out, which was a pain in the butt because I had to, you know, do this. Dump all the powder out and just basically go exchange the dies. So what did I do? I went back to the trustworthy Hornady dies, and let me tell you something. I just cracked the box of this. Okay, so I just cracked it, just took the little wrap off, and here are the die sets right here. And I have not cleaned them or anything like that, and that's what I was going to do on the video. I was going to try to show you how to prep the die, and you know, kind of what you do when you get a brand new set of dies. So one thing that I was going to show you right quick though, let's look at that sleeve. Oh, you can't see it. See that sleeve? When you put that into the press, when you have you can't even see it. When you have your bullet coming up, that covers the bullet like that. That way the bullet won't go in sideways, it won't jam, you know, in there, and you don't get this, which is horrible, absolutely horrible, you know. Put that as a reminder. But I need to pull that, get that primer out of there and so forth. So, but anyway, now another thing that I didn't really like about the RCBS dies, and I'm not disparaging RCBS equipment. I have RCBS equipment, not a lot, but I have some. So I like their powder measure. I think it's awesome. Okay, so it's not RCBS thing for me. It's just that I guess I'm not used to it, and I just didn't care for it. When you start using your die bushings, okay, with RCBS, you'll notice if you have the tube between like a Hornady and RCBS that the threading is a lot bigger for the Hornady versus the RCBS. You have a lot more real estate there, and I did not run out of room. And that also came into play with bullet seating. I ran out of room with the bullet seeder on the RCBS and had to finagle a little bit inside the die bushing, and it just wasn't working like I wanted it to. So ultimately, you know, I got rid of it. I did keep the RCBS shell holder. Okay, RCBS, I don't know if you can see that or not, but alright, so I have that. Not a big deal. Anyway, alright, so how do you get ready for these? There's another video on YouTube from Hornady, I believe, talking about prepping your dies. Now, what the guy says to use is this Hornady one-shot gun cleaner and dry lube, and this stuff works great. So basically what you do is you want to take your die apart, So take your retainer ring, go ahead and unscrew everything you can, because what they say is that Hornady has like a film on all their stuff. This is not just Hornady stuff. I did the same thing to the RCBS, but this is with any die. But the guy in the video from Hornady says that there's like a little film on here, okay? And it can cause some, not a smooth action, I guess you would say, when you're doing your, can't even talk, when you're doing your reloading. So what you want to do is you want to pretty much separate everything, and the key is also make sure that you take out any rubber. You don't want to spray this stuff on any of the rubber sockets or anything like that. Like there's a rubber retainer ring, O-ring right here. You want to make sure that that's not there. So basically all you see me do is unscrew everything. This comes out, this comes out. The bullet seating die is the one that's probably the most complex, and really all you got to do, there's a little retaining ring here, and I'm just going to pull that off, and it's not that difficult to do. So I have that piece, and then I can unscrew this, which I'll do, which is my bullet seating screw that pushes all that stuff down. This pops off. This is that O-ring. You want to set that aside. You don't want to get stuff on that. And this would just fall out the end. That should fall out this end. Alright, so, you know, the hard part when I first did this was, how in the world am I going to get all this stuff back together? But it's really not that big of a deal. You know, it's not that big a deal at all. So what he says to do is basically take this Hornady one-shot gun cleaner and dry lube, and just basically take all the pieces and just spray them down. Right? It's okay to put this stuff on your hands. You know, it kind of smells a little petroleum-y, I guess, and it feels very cold, almost like you're spraying Freon or something like that, but it's not. But basically spray this stuff down very good. Get it covered, get the insides, and get all that stuff off. Now, after you spray everything, you can wipe it down with a paper towel, which is, I have another paper towel here to do that with. Get all that nice and sprayed. Don't worry about using too much or too little. There's too little is probably a bad thing. And once you get it all on here, get everything nice and covered, then you can dry it off. Now, if you can't get to some places, like some of these hard to reach places in here, okay, don't worry about it. This is a dry lube, meaning that it will dry and create like a powdery surface or something like that. So it's not a big deal. Okay. Now, this makes the threading so much easier and that sort of thing. You definitely are going to want to do this. Now, if you have like a powder measure or something like that, you want to do the same thing to the powder measure, because all your powder will actually stick to the walls of your powder measure. So I cleaned the powder. I took it apart, completely cleaned it, and put it back together after I had done this process here. So you can see I just opened the box, and you know, this doesn't take a whole lot of time. I'm not worried about getting inside there. I'm just basically wiping everything off. You know, so I just opened this box of dies. You know, I used to dread doing this because I really didn't know what I was doing when I first started reloading, I guess. I don't know, afraid I was going to mess stuff up. But you really can't, you know. This basically goes in here. Alright. It eventually will screw as you tighten this down, but this will go back in my handy dandy die, and this screws up here. And then eventually that die is done. Eventually my locking collar, or my die bushing, whatever you want to call it, will get screwed on here as well. And then when I find the proper setting for all this stuff, then this collar will just simply lock down. One thing I noticed with the Hornadys, it stays pretty much locked. Okay? Once I tighten that down using an Allen wrench, that is pretty much secure. It's come loose a couple of times, but not a big deal. With the RCBS, it never would tighten. So I had some problems with that. You know, what are you going to do? So, you know, I can make the adjustments and set the dies now that I've got this stuff clean. And it's not, like I said, it's not rocket science to do this. But if you've never done it before, it can seem, I guess, somewhat intimidating, I guess. You know, not a big deal. I had already cleaned these die bushings, so from when I had them on the RCBS. I think that Lee dies are a little bit smaller, and so it's not that big of a deal, I guess. I don't know. So let's put this sucker back together. This looks very intimidating, doing these die prep things, because there's so many pieces to this. How do we put this back together? Well, you put it back together the same way you take it apart. And fortunately for you and me, the way that you put it back together is only really one way to do it. Okay, you're not limited on putting things in backwards and that sort of thing. So you know that the threads are going to go down. It's going to go down like this, and this basically is your collar that comes down for the bullet seating. And this will simply go in up like this. All right, because you know it comes down. All right, I can't put it in. I could put it in this way, but you can probably tell that, you know, it's thicker there, and it actually fits like this. Here's the actual bullet seater, okay, and it will go on top, and it has to go through and seat itself here, okay. It just fits this way. I don't know if you can tell, but so anyway, that goes up in there. And then that's what this little ring is for, by the way. This little ring, this little pin that I took out, is to hold that in. And really, once you have that in place, all you do is you stick it through this hole, and then it catches. Oh, I think I did it backwards. I did it backwards. Forgive me. I'll just do it like this. Stick it through the hole and it just goes in. It doesn't matter which way it is, but I mean, if you have these dies, you'll see what I'm talking about. It just, there's a little groove there and everything. It just goes right into place. So not that big of a deal. So that's there. Here's the actual bullet seater, and this is a tightening wrench or lug or whatever you want to call it. So this piece goes here on top. Okay, so this actually will tighten. This nut is used to tighten this and set it in place so it doesn't move. And I just basically screw this sucker back on. Get it in there. And so that's not too bad. And then of course here's my locking washer, or whatever you want to call it. I noticed in my videos, watching some of my videos, I say whatever you're going to call it a lot because I don't know sometimes what things are called. That's because I'm not a professional. This is just my hobby. And yada yada. And this goes here. So I was especially excited about doing this die. This is my bullet seating die because, you know, I already have 100 rounds prepped. Okay, I just got to run powder through them again to make sure that they're working. So anyway, that's basically it. That's how you prep your dies to get ready to be sized in your press. Now I'll do a different video about sizing something in the press just to have it separate topic. I don't mind running long videos. I can run a video for 15, 20, 30, 40 minutes. It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't serve me a purpose to create like umpteen 100 different videos. But it does, I do like separating them out in different topics. So if I'm going to talk about a different topic, I'll move it to a different video. So anyway, that's how you prep your dies and getting them ready to be set for your press. So next video I'll do is on the putting them in the press and getting them set up and everything like that. This is BrandoMcWilli. You like what you see, please subscribe, and I will talk to you guys later.